And we are back for another edition of the Astro Weather with the warm glow of the pastoral Texas sky behind us and a lone steer gazing at us from the distance, wondering what he'll be doing for the rest of the day and hoping if he's a male steer that he can find a female steer and the day will be much better. And if not that, some nice grass, some shade, a little bit of water. Life is good. All right. Let's do a little roll call. When I call your name, please say present. 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 DJ MC, what's going on, brother? Hey, so at our event, and I will have details, everything will be put together on Friday, tomorrow. It'll all be there, right? And the great one, Pedrita Pebbles, is going to DJ. And she is a serious DJ. So she'll be there. We'll be shaking our asses on Saturday night. That'll be awesome. And of course, we have Mario from Symbolic Studies. He'll be there doing a presentation. I'll do a presentation. We got the whole Chattaria gang, who are stars in and of themselves. And I got a few more surprises. So all that information hits you tomorrow. So get ready. Get ready. Get your travel plans in order. And we hope to see you out here in Texas in October. Always a good time. Mary Lee, what's happening, Mary Lee? Integrity and karma. Integrity and karma. Integrity and karma. It's the way for you. Ooh, ooh. There you go. Jackie Delara, bittersweet morning. Oh, I like that. Bittersweet. It's a bittersweet morning as I contemplate the ephemeral relationship between myself and this existence on this mortal coil. And I ponder, how many more breaths do I have in my lungs? How many more laughs? How many more tears? How many more beers? Bright, breezy, comfortably warm, and an orthopedist canceled my appointment, so the cast remains on for another week. I didn't know you had a cast, but I hope that all goes well. There's my man Ryan. I guess he's still the president of the International Introspective Woodworkers Union of the World. As I've mentioned before, they keep trying to remove him, but he's a tough son of a bitch. He's like Jimmy Hoffa. He's the Jimmy Hoffa of international introspective woodworking. Don't fuck with Ryan. Let's see. I like that. Pedrita. You got to hit that like button. I agree. Athena. Greetings, Athena. Aaron L. There she is. The Rose of Mexico. Maya Rose. Debate day. I think I'm going to do a live stream. I will do a live stream. Where will I do that live stream? I think we'll do the live stream. Why don't we rumble it? Let's rumble the live stream tonight for the debate. A little science mystery theater commentary in the background. So I'll put the link up over on Twitter. I'll actually book the slot over on Rumble. I'll probably use Boxcast as the back end. So, but I'll be focusing on Rumble with the live stream for the debate. So if you want to join us and have a few laughs, come on over. We'll make it happen. There's my man TJ. Thomas Jordan. Yes, and you can become a member over on Locals. I'll be posting on Locals today. Misbehaving 2. Zerlath the Immortal. The Lord of Feedback. Zerlath Immortal, the Lord of Feedback. Yes, if you feel like buying me a cup of coffee, you can do so there. Thank you for everyone who has to this point in time. Oh, Inky's going to get a little bit of a wash later. Good for Inky. Inky the Aquarian. Let's see. Yeah, oh, Catherine, if you're listening, I'll reach out to you today. Yesterday was busy, very busy. I've been doing lots of work astrologically lately. Carly's here. Hi. Brandy Herrera storming in New Orleans. That should be dramatic. That'd be kind of cool. I'd love to be in a cafe in New Orleans down there by the French Quarter where it's kind of open and you could just sit in there and watch the storm come down around you, sip a little coffee, have a little beignet. Greetings, the lovely and talented one. It's a great show on Assange. We're going to do some more Assange today. The more I think about it, the weirder and more troubling it becomes. And I would bet everything I own, including Peachy, that within the next 5 days, Tucker Carlson will have an interview with Julian Assange. Hell, the guy's in Australia, right? So it really makes sense. Green Eyed Crow, overcast and muggy here in Utah this morning. Overcast and muggy. So hopefully you get some rain, a little lightning and thunder, clear those skies. It's all good. Sharon Lewis, bringing into union the opposites within me. Sharon, that's some high level alchemy. Good for you. Integration. Meow meow. What's happening, meow meow? You can see in here St. Margaret of Scotland. Greetings from Florida. I had heard that St. Margaret had migrated to Florida. It's good to see you here. Kabuki Theater. Hi, Bo. Hope I'm feeling much better. I am feeling better. I had this cough in the night. It was a little over the top. My man, Mark. What's going on, brother Mark? Mr. Rabbit Hole Astrology himself. He's here today with us. Greetings. Good to see Mark. At least theoretically see you. Jeff Rosen. Hello to everyone. Have a great day and week and second half of the year. I love the optimism, Jeff. Laura E. checking in from Vermont. Wishing everyone well. That is cool. And we wish you well back. Janine. What's happening, Janine? There she is, Robin Dan. Dan, that's Robin Dan. Steers are castrated bulls, indifferent to cows. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Oh, well. Thanks for setting me straight, Barbara. I'll always appreciate learning something new, even though I'm from Texas. Sweet Woodruff is in Ingram. I think there could be a Sweet Woodruff coffee meetup in the making here. How about that? Whitney Palm, it's the morning gang. That's right. Joe Litke, appreciate you, brother. Hit the like button. Sandra Wells checking in. Me and Sandra had a rather long, thorough, and very good chat session yesterday. Appreciate you. This is Cuz. I'm sorry. This is different Sandra. I was thinking of Sandra Jack Shaw. Sandra Wells, good to see you. Sandra Wells is an old timer. When I say old timer, it does mean she's old. But she's been watching this show since about 2012. Maybe even before that. Good to see you, Cuz. I hope you're well. Let's see. Platinum Happiness. How's that hip? Is that hip getting hipper? Good to see you, Harriet Bowie. Hey, 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 hey. I think it's Harriet Bowie, actually. Rainbows and butterflies. Christina Jerzik. What's the debate forecast? The debate forecast is we'll look at it. We'll look at it through the chart. I think the energies have to favor Trump. But sometimes the lords of chaos will overrule the. I mean, we've got what Sun, Mercury, Venus, all in Cancer. Trump has Saturn, Mercury, Venus, all in Cancer. So theoretically, all those planets are assembling in his 11th house, and it's a public event broadcast on the old airwaves. So I would say, at least astrologically, Trump has the stars in his corner. So if he doesn't do well based on those alignments, then we got something to talk about. Kelly B, what's happening? All right, Peter Bayonne, he's got the theme from Rocky going. Gonna fly now. Go get him, Peter. Vaporwave, stressful morning at the movie theater, but it's going to be fine. 7 people need to watch a movie at 8:55 a.m. Wow, people actually still go to movies? That is a mind blower in and of itself. There were movie theaters that would be open 24 hours, and people would go and sleep in the theater. This is many years ago. Leanne Ott. Got a Leanne Ott sighting. Good to see you, Leanne. Let's see. Biden may jab at Trump. What is this thing with Newsom being the surrogate? That he could play the role of a surrogate at the debate? When I saw that, I said, yeah, the other role of surrogate that he'll play is he'll bang Dr. Jill and Joe will watch. He'll be that kind of surrogate. Lisa Ann White. Hi, Lisa. TFT catching us live. What's happening? There she is, the queen of speed, Nora Rashid. She's a woman with a mission. She's on a mission. Panama versus USA in soccer, just down the street. From the debate at the same time. I hope we kick the fucking Panamanians' ass. I hope we grind them into the turf. USA, USA. It's so damn hot in Texas. We need Stevie Ray to bring rain. We got Tom. Ever since Tom showed up, we've had more rain since Tom showed up in the last 3 years. Who needs Stevie Ray Vaughan when we have Tom Jordan? Let's see. Healing Heart Rosie is picking them blueberries. Go get them. I am the only member. So you would have to overthrow yourself then. That would be difficult, but not impossible. Amy Gill, what's happening? Carol Moore, now that the debate is almost over, what's next week's obsession? I don't know. We'll have at least 3 or 4 days of after debate discussion. Pretty messed up Supreme Court decision. I would agree with that. They kind of agreed with what they laid down in Congress about saying unkind things towards foreign entities, such as our friend in the Fertile Crescent, right? So basically the Supreme Court allowed for the fact that the government has the right to take down things that they are not okay with. It was a bad decision, very bad decision. Thanks for reminding us, Peter. Okay. Hey, Scott, what's going on? Good to see you. Greetings. Soul Traveler, you're late to class. Get there. Get there. Get there. Can I go through Boxcast? You can, but I'll be paying attention to the comments on Rumble. Just an FYI. Let's see. Who else we have? Esperanza Vincero. Who's Casglow? Good morning back to you. I bow to you, Casglow. We need to bow more. We need to bow more. I think we should start this tradition of bowing. Right. As long as we're bowing to each other, I think it'd be good. I think it'd be really good. Yes. Right. It would make us more humble, I think. Yes. I bow to you. I mean, if you wanted to, you could do that as well. Right. Or you do the martial arts thing and do the bow. Right. I think we might need to reinstate the bow. Uh oh, of course, Bronny Jr. goes to the Lakers with the 55th pick in the draft. But if I was a team in the second round, I would fucking draft him. I would draft, but the problem is you draft him. Clutch Sports is really powerful, right? They're very powerful and they can steer guys in your direction or they can steer guys away from your direction, right? Between Clutch Sports and Nike, LeBron is surrounded by the fucking sports mafia. So if you did that, you would be pissing on Clutch Sports, which means that somewhere down the line, they would make you pay for that, right? But who cares? Who cares? Draft LeBron James, Bronny Jr., and hold him for a ransom, right? Turn him into like the Lindbergh case or something like that. You're not going to get this kid until we extract a lot from you. Ha ha ha. You thought you could just run this table? Yeah, think again. Somebody should do that. That is true outside the box, right? Outside the box, revolutionary, radical American thinking. Let's see. Meow meow kitty poop is here. Let's see. Thank you for the insights. Working cancers. I have this conjunction near Sirius, my ascendant. I always think it's interesting if you have a planet that's conjunct Sirius like that. You should just like get up in the morning, every morning, and just go full on man facing southwest with Sirius. Right. That's your meditation right there. Let's see. Who else do we have? Terry Catterley made it. Claire, all the way from Scotland. She flew on in. Tried to leave a comment of video, but I don't know why. Sometimes this happens. Scrubbies, getting back from the dog walk. Let's see. Is YT glitching for anyone else? That's a good question. Don't know. Glitching and shadow banning me all the time, Joe. I got nothing to do with that, brother. Nothing to do with it. It would not be at a theater that early, not ever. I would not be at a theater that early. Did you ever wait in line to get to see a movie that was just opening first run? I have a story about that. Maybe I'll tell it later. Let's see. Who is this? Twiley Hithmith. This. Welcome, Robert Gray. Yes. I am embracing my inner sage. Let's see who else we have here. Justice Moody. What's happening, JM? Good to see you. What else? Who else we got here? Road Trip 1981. Did I say Curtis Moonflower? What's going on, brother? Always great to see Curtis here. Janice Phillips. Howdy, all. Listening, no chatting. Listening and no chatting is accepted. Mrs. Rogers' Neighborhood checking in from South Dakota. How about that? We got some South Dakota. I just went black. Now I'm back. I'm back in black. Kelly, we still have a drive-in here. We try to go at least one. Drive-ins were so cool. I saw so many inappropriate movies as a kid at a drive-in. It wasn't even funny. My parents would take me to all these adult movies. I'm like, oh, look at that. Ooh, look at that. Let's see. Who else do we have here? So, Peter, this is really the elephant in the room. I know we're talking sports, but LeBron James didn't play that much this year at USC. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that he had myocarditis, and they were being very careful and limiting his playing time. And during the NBA camp, when he was actually on the court playing with other players, he didn't do much. He wasn't terrible, but he also wasn't memorable. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're trying to manage his workload because they know that what's going on inside of his ticker isn't fully functional. So that's a great point, Peter. Have you ever seen Man Facing South? It's Man Facing Southeast, not Southwest. It's one of my favorite movies all time. Let's see who else. We should probably do some astrology. Teresa's here. We can start now.
Why do you think you're so special, Teresa? You just get to show up whenever you want. We've been here for 22 minutes waiting for you.
Cloudy in Williamsburg, Virginia. Seems like there's some cloud cover out there in the world. Good to see you, A. Marie. Yeah, I saw all those movies way too young. Way too young. But I don't have any regrets. No regrets. We went to go see 4 Clint Eastwood movies at the drive-in. It was a Clint Eastwood marathon. Fistful of dollars or a few dollars more. Oh, it was 3, but it was big. And The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It was 3. The Good, Bad, and the Ugly is a very long movie, right? So we saw all 3 of those at the drive-in. It was epic. Epic. Soros, my McMahon, listen to that song you liked by the Smiths. Another good one is Charming Man is very good. Very good. I'm not the hugest Smiths fan, but I do appreciate what they do. Okay, so The Birds with Alfred Hitchcock. There is a movie within the movie with the birds, if you follow it. There's other things going on in that movie versus just all the birds attacking Petaluma, or no, what was it, Bodega Bay? Remember Faces of Death? Vaguely. Vaguely. I remember Five Fingers of Death. Yes, we were living parallel lives, Laura E. Definitely. Teresa, ha, Robert, you sound like my 10th grade French teacher. Yes, it's always good to tap into the 10th grade French teacher persona from time to time. All right. Enough dilly-dally. Let's get into the weather. The weather. The weather. Okay, this is what I'm talking about with the old Trumpster right here. Sun, Venus, Mercury, all in Cancer. So we have the Sun at 8 and Mercury at 20. So Mercury's going to conjunct his Saturn. All right. If I'm sitting down with Donald Trump and I'm advising him as his astrological advisor for the debate, my advice to him is don't over talk. See your words as bursts coming out of a machine gun, a 50 cal machine gun. Get in, get out, hit it hard, right? Because it's conjuncting a Saturn. So the things that he says, now this is going to be an interesting thing for Trump, because the things that he says will have impact, right? They'll have it. And I think he should. Again, I'm not a big fan of the debate. It's just kind of bread and circus for me. But if we're really looking at it, it's like you got to go in and you got to hit him hard in about 4 to 5 sentences max, right? You have to have facts, facts, and max. That's the plan because they got a cutoff on his mic anyway. Why he agreed to do it on CNN, here's what I think. I think he's probably secretly pissed off at Fox. That's what I think. And this is a man that holds a grudge. So he's like, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you, Fox. You fucked me over. I'm going to go over here to CNN. I'm going to make friends with CNN. So when this election rolls around, they're going to declare me the winner. They're going to give me Arizona 20 minutes into the fucking election. Fuck you. I'm serious though. He should just be locked in, have his talking points, right? And then the whole idea here, if I'm him and his team, and whoever or whatever Joe is, if it's the real Joe and he's pumped up on Adderall and his vitamin B cocktail or whatever fucking other drugs they have that we don't know, right? Like let him run his mouth. Let him run his mouth. And if Trump has a retort, it should be laser-like. Laser-like. Right? Less is more here for Donald Trump tonight. Take it to the bank, Donald. You listen to me. You will win this fucker hands down. And Joe Biden will come unglued. And people will just see him as this babbling idiot, which he kind of is. And then the Sun-Venus conjunction. So Trump is having his Venus return as well. So he should be popular. The only glitch here is Chiron in Aries. So I would say that Trump would have to watch his temper. And if I were him, I would not get into personal attacks. I wouldn't get into attacks on Hunter. Right? I wouldn't do that. I'd stay as far away from Joe Biden's personal and family life as possible. I'll tell you what I would do is I would focus a lot on the Ukraine war. Now, Israel will be a talking point, and I guarantee you Trump will play the Israel card, and he will accuse Biden of not providing Israel with everything they need. Okay, there's a plus side for Trump with that, and then there's a minus side. The plus side is that all the people that love him and love Israel will clap their hands, right? And they'll say, "Good." And he didn't do that. He get him the fuck out of here, right? The downside with that is that there are people, and I'm not sure what the percentage is. Probably negligible, right? But there are people who look at Trump and say, "Okay, you're the best. You're theoretically the best we have on the dance card." And I don't agree with you at all here, right? But those people are kind of being held hostage in some ways. Oh, that's a weird analogy, but I think he'll go there, and he doesn't care, right? The other thing about Trump, because of his chart, he'll bring something up out of nowhere that will be incendiary. But I would urge him to resist doing that. I would urge him to resist doing that. He needs to focus on family and values and the economy and money, right? Those are all really Cancerian issues. Like he needs to hammer those points so that every American who is suffering, right? And if I were him, I would bring up immigration. I would bring it up. And I would make that a serious talking point. But Donald, if you're listening to me, don't attack his family. Stay away from his family. Because people will expect him to do that. And I would say don't fall for the bait. Also, you know, Richard Nixon said that in politics and in debate, he said that you should never attack an opponent's family unless for some reason, and maybe Hunter, uh, you know, fits into this category for some reason that a presidential candidate's family member is somehow connected to that president in a way where it's detrimental to that president in the country. I don't know if you could say concurrent. Like, do you think that Hunter Biden is ever going to do another Ukraine deal again? Probably not. And I'm not giving him a pass on that. Hunter Hunter Biden is a pretty vile human, although I bet you he'd be fun to party with up to a point, and then it would get weird. But I would stay away from it. I would definitely stay away from it. Because there's so much more that he could focus on and win people over by just hanging in there with the issues. All right, let's talk about this Cancer energy, which is again really really strong, and we have the Moon Saturn conjunction. And again, this is kind of what I'm feeling, right? That Moon Saturn, it's even though it's in Pisces, it's grounded, right? Am I sharing the chart? You know what? Let me share the chart. I did this yesterday. There it is. Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about with all the Cancerian energy, right? And it's all lining up in Trump's 11th house. So the Moon Saturn conjunction is really really good because again, by the time the debate rolls around, what's the degree of the moon? Let me zoom in a little bit here. Hold on. And I promise I'll make this relevant to everybody. Just give me a little more time. Oh shit. Now you got the spinning ball. I can't move. Ah, okay. Well, let me see if I can zoom out. I may have to reboot here, but let me just see if I can zoom out. Come on, zoom out. Come on, spinning ball. There we go. All right. Let's not get greedy. So by the time the debate rolls around, the moon is going to be closer to Neptune. Okay. I'm gonna throw this in there. This is the last thing I have to say about the debate. And again, this is all Trump, right? This is all Trump. This has nothing to do with Biden. Trump has to be aspirational. But it can't come off fucking corny like victory cities or some shit like that. Yeah, and it's like victory cities just sound weird. They just sound like 15-minute cities with flags, right? But he has to be aspirational. He has to look into the camera and he has to essentially tell the American people that when he is reelected and is back in the White House, that there are stated goals that he has, whatever they are. Right? I know he wants to have like a year-long festival to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the country, and he's going to have this like fair somewhere in Iowa or some shit like that. Right? I mean, I think that's nice, but that's not what people really want to hear. What people really want to hear is, how do I get my grocery bill under control? How do I make sure that my $25 an hour skilled labor job will be here in a year? Right? These are the things that he has to address. And if he hasn't come up with a kind of plan to address those things, well, he better get cracking, because that Moon Neptune conjunction is aspirational. And one of the things that he got from Richard Nixon through Roger Stone who worked for Nixon. Nixon was very clear that any president had to be successful, had to have a great mission, something that the entire country could rally behind. So when Trump got into Make America Great Again, right? That's what his mission was. That he clearly stated that, right? And I think for a while it was effective. It was like somebody finally came out and said, "Hey, look, we have fallen fairly low in terms of our worldly status and how we do business on an everyday level and how we treat one another. So we need to get back to some of those values." I think that was a worthy vision, but it's looking backwards. And of course, Trump has all these planets in Cancer, so there's a tendency to look backwards. And I'm I always ask the question, so what period of America do you want to be great again from? Right? That's we have these ideas, they're kind of Norman Rockwell ideas. Trump has to find a way to have something aspirational and unveil it tonight. But it can't sound fucking corny. Like we're gonna have a year-long World's Fair in Iowa and we're gonna have, Flag Day every day. I mean, he's got to do something a little bit more than that, right? He has to address, I think he has to address the working class. He has to address the working class. He has to look them right in the eye. And he's got to say, I don't care what color you are, white, black, brown, yellow, I don't care. But it's my mission to make sure that you are all not only gainfully employed, but you're gainfully employed in areas that are expanding. And it is my promise to you that I will be your shepherd in that arena. I will not forget you. If you place your trust in me, I will not forget you. And inch by inch, brick by brick, we will rebuild this country, and we will rebuild it together as one people, one country, indivisible under God. You hit him with that message, right? And maybe you got a few programs set up or whatever. That's where he has to go. If he can do that and keep his jabbing with Biden short, concise, for maximum punch, stay away from the family stuff, he'll win this debate hands down. He'll win it. He'll win it hands down. And I don't care what they pump Biden with or his replacement or clone or whatever. All right. So what about you? Today's a great day. Today is another great day. I just talked about values, right? So what are the values that you stand for? Because Cancer to me is all about values. It's all about values and loyalty. So what are the values that you stand for? what values are important to you? Right? And how do you honor those values? Today's a day where you get to express that. And it's not hard. Right? It is not hard. It's interesting because when we think of Pisces, when I think of Pisces, I know it sounds corny, but I think of heaven. I mean, there could be hell in Pisces too, because it's very up and downy, right? Very mutable. But I think when I think of Pisces, I think of heaven. And when I think of Cancer, I think of Earth, because we have all these Cancerian things that represent our time here, right? Our homes, our upbringing, our families, our mothers, the foods that we eat, the water we drink, which is all local. So Cancer is really very earth oriented, and Pisces is very kind of heavenly and celestial. And today's one of those days where those two poles connect, right? So your higher aspirations, if you have them, are not separate from your personal expression and how you communicate them to others. And I think the higher you tune your frequency today, the better off you're going to be. right? Because even that Moon Saturn conjunction, it is not airy fairy. It's very grounded. It's very practical, very realistic. The Moon is the ruler of Cancer, right? And she's doing a little dance with Saturn here, and they're they're opposite planets. And so now they're swimming together, right? They're having a skinny dip together, and I think it's really really good. I think it's very good. It's one of these days where the authority of Saturn commingles with the emotional content of Pisces. It's the mother and the father all rolled into one, right? And they're all in you too. So we could talk about the heavenly father and we could talk about the earth mother. It's all here. It's all present today, right? So everything you do today is a blessing. It's all a blessing today, you know, and just be conscious of that when you interact with somebody at the checkout stand or you're taking their ticket at the movie theater, give them a smile, right? Have a good time. Enjoy the show, right? That's the kind of day today is. And as the moon moves closer to Neptune tonight, it's interesting. I think the energy is kind of giddy, right? There's kind of a giddy energy. I think this is an interesting uh moon phase cycle for a debate for sure. For sure. Now, when the moon moves into Aries, that's a whole different transit, right? So we'll be running into that on Friday night and going into the weekend, and that's where you have to work out some conflict, right? That's where it's like, well, this is how I feel. How I feel. Don't you care how I feel, right? And squaring off against all those, meek, mild Cancerian planets that are so accommodating at times. It's like, whoa, okay. You know how I feel? This is how I feel, right? So enjoy the peace and harmony while you can, because we start to get a little tested and testy with that moon in Aries, and I think there's an impatience with the moon in Aries. It's like, how much fucking longer are we gonna have to wait? Whatever that wait is, right? So the weekend, I would say tempers and tensions run high. And there could also be some blowback after the debate with that moon in Aries. And I think a lot of that is going to be centering around war talk. So keep your ears open for that. Mars still in Taurus, sextile Moon Saturn. It's actually a really good aspect to be physical. Work up a sweat. Today's a work up the sweat day. I may even mow the lawn today. I may mow the front lawn today to work up a sweat. I might do that. It's good, honest work. So get out there, work up a sweat, work in your garden, work out, right? Put some effort into something. It'll be enjoyable, hopefully. Going in the other direction, Mars sextile Sun, Sun Venus. Again, right? This is like you're into it. So if you're gardening, growing, mowing, today's a good day for all of that. And I think that with the moon in play here, I think there's uh, an understanding as to know when to stop, right? To know when to stop. It's like, okay, I'm done. I'm good. Enough. Let's see. I guess we got the Uranus Moon Saturn sextile. Again, I have to think that favors Trump because he's Uranian, right? He's Uranian. Hey, why don't you mow your neighbor's lawn today too while you're at it? I mean, seriously, this is one of those days where you could do something like that. Just kind of out of the goodness or kindness of your heart. Go make a miracle happen. All right, let's get into the we're running behind as always. Um, let's get into the oh fuck, I gotta restart. All right, it's a good place to restart. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, please. We'll finish this out in just a matter of moments. I'll be right back. See, it's that easy. It's that easy. All right, let me get my banner up here. So we got some new news with True Hemp Science. You guys know about the 15 MINS code. I got a better code for you today. Steers are neutered. Yes, I've been educated on that. You could tell I'm not from Texas. Let's see. It seems a shame to neuter a steer, though, right? With those horns and everything, it's such a virile image. Okay, let's see. Where's this? That's here. All right. Okay. This is from Chris. If you go to True Hemp Science and type in July 4, you will get 20% off of everything. Now, I don't know if you get the goodie bag, if you spend $100 or more. I don't know about that. You may have to ask him that. But if you wanted to get this product at a screamingly good deal, go to truehempscience.com. Upon checkout, type in July 4. That's all you got to do. You're going to get 20% off your order. It's a great deal. That just in from the Chris man. All right. Let's get into our True Hemp Science star of the day. It's a little sneaky one. A little sneaky star of the day. Speaking of sneaky, I got Peachy on my lap. Today's True Hemp Science star of the day is San Francisco. It's worked out pretty well because everybody else that's born today is kind of meh. A little meh. I mean, I like Isabella Johnny, but I'm not sure how I can meaningfully interpret her chart. Helen Keller, this is Helen Keller's birthday. And that would be, I thought about like, can I get into Helen? Like, how do I figure out in Helen Keller's chart where she went deaf, dumb, and blind? She could see and everything when she was a kid. But then she had this fever, I guess after 18 months, and then she had no sight, no speech, no sound. And I think she lost her shit. And then she had this woman that came in eventually and taught her Braille, and they were together forever, right? And there's also like this weird sort of subplot that Helen Keller was a theosophist, but there are some people who accuse her of even going so far as to being a Satanist, right? Like there's a weird kind of backstory with Helen Keller. She has Uranus on her midheaven, so that could have been interpreted a certain way. But let's talk about San Francisco, founded on June 27th, 1776. I mean, this is literally the day it's founded. They break ground for Mission San Francisco, right? And it's gone through many names. One time it was Yerba Buena. At another time, they were playing with the idea of Hibernia. But San Francisco was really the original name because it's in the mission system and it's named after St. Francis, right? So you have all these missions going up and down the state of California. You have San Juan Bautista, Santa Clara, right? St. Clara, they're all there. So what can we tell about San Francisco from its chart that might be revealing? Well, one of the things, because I live there, one of the things that I noticed about San Francisco is that it was kind of a home for misfits, right? Like it'd be rare that I would actually meet a native San Franciscan, somebody who had actually been born there. I was always meeting people from other parts of the country or other parts of the world, right? So you have a lot of 9th house and 10th house action, and especially with the Sun Jupiter conjunction in Cancer. So it's like a new home for other people, right? Even with the 9th house, but it's not just anybody, right? San Francisco is a nut magnet. And if you look at the cast of characters, you know, that eventually migrate towards San Francisco, we'd be here for the next couple of hours, you know, breaking them down, right? Everybody from Ambrose Bierce to Charles Manson. I mean, Charles Manson, before he went to LA, went to San Francisco. And, you know, he's like, hey, should I set up my base of operations here? Right. And so there's also the kind of high crazy. Like Jim Jones eventually winds up in San Francisco, right? He's, I think, from originally from either Indiana or Ohio, and he goes to San Francisco. So you have all these unusual people that show up there, and because in a weird way it feels like home to them. And what's also interesting here is Neptune on the ascendant. Let's talk about this for a second. San Francisco has been in a rapid state of decline for the last 20 years. And yet people in San Francisco can't fucking see it, right? They're myopic. They're myopic. It's a great city and they love it. And everybody else just hates on it because it's such a great city. And, you know, all these other countries in America have the same issues as San Francisco. They always bring that up. That's really not true. There are some cities that don't have the same issues. Okay, I live near San Antonio. Clearly, it's not the city San Francisco is. It has more people and it does have some issues, but you don't see the human detritus on the streets of San Antonio. You don't see used hypodermic needles. You don't see piles of shit everywhere, right? You don't see that. But San Franciscans are myopic. And I think a lot of this has to do with Neptune on the ascendant. They can't even see their own city for what it is. It's, if you live in San Francisco, and you will defend it to your dying breath through rose-colored glasses, right? And in a lot of ways, Neptune there is interesting because it's also like playing the role of the sacrificial goat. Because there are other cities that are equally as bad as San Francisco, but because San Francisco, well, Seattle is a pretty nice looking city. If you've ever been to Seattle, they got issues just like San Francisco does. But it's also how San Francisco is viewed by the rest of the world. So they'll view it through that Neptunian lens, right? And so if you see San Francisco as a fallen city, that's where Neptune will chime in. If you see San Francisco as a haven for human rights and whatever, right? That's where you'll chime in. That's how Neptune works on the ascendant. It's incredibly deceptive and very illusory, right? And I think even when you get down into the bowels of like city government, you know, it's always projected like a certain face, but there was always something else going on in San Francisco that cut against the grain politically, right? Like Willie Brown is a classic example of kind of this dyed-in-the-wool liberal, able to pull votes from various special interest groups. So he looks and feels like, you know, a man of the people, right? But meanwhile, you know, he's doing all these contracts and deals with all these developers in San Francisco. And, you know, it's everything that the Willie Brown sort of, you know, 1960 style Democrat would not agree with, right? So that's what I'm talking about with San Francisco. Even if you go back and you look at what's his name, the mayor that got shot. You can't like everybody thought, hey, this is a great guy. This is a great George Moscone. He's a great guy. He's a great mayor, right? George Moscone was a piece of shit. He was a piece of shit, right? But that's how Neptune works on the ascendant, right? It's so odd, you know, to have the city have this planet. I could get into stories with Neptune. Drugs play a huge role with San Francisco. I mean, let's face it, right? Go back to whatever the post gold rush days were. It wouldn't be hard to find an opium den in San Francisco, right? Fast forward, you go to the 60s, drugs, 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 drugs. You got Ken Kesey living down the road. He does his electric Kool-Aid acid tests in San Francisco. Summer of Love. All that's Neptunian shit, right? It's all on the ascendant. And it's all great until it isn't. And then it gets dark. And that's happened. We've seen that happen. And, we've got these squares going on, especially with Mars, the Mars Neptune square, which, by the way, tends to be somewhat addictive, right? And Mars in Gemini is eternally restless, right? So I feel like I feel like this has to do with people coming to the city, which is very ninth housely, right? Because you get to the edge of the country, right? So if you're restless in Woodstock, New York, right, or where Jackie Delario is in South Jersey, right, where are you going to wind up? Ultimately, you're going to wind up on the West Coast, generally, right? In San Francisco, big magnet. Like if you weren't really into being a part of Hollywood or whatever, right? San Francisco was your choice of city. And if you went there on a nice day, before it went to hell, it's magical. It's magical. And I think that magic comes from the moon in Scorpio, right? And, one of the things that Scorpio has is magic. It's a sign that's connected to magic. And so, yeah, you'll go there and you'll feel it. But there's also an underbelly with San Francisco with the moon in Scorpio. There's, you have the Church of Satan and Michael Aquino, right? Like San Francisco is just really weird in that way. And so, yeah, and it's also like this whole thing, like with George Moscone and all these people who were the hoi polloi during the time that he was mayor. They were all shitbags. They all went to this one place where they had like 13, 14-year-old girls. It was this one building run by this old madam. They all went there. Wilkes Bashford, George Moscone, Dick Blum, who is Dianne Feinstein's husband, like all these people. Who else am I missing out of that? Willie Brown. Willie Brown is part of the crowd. So that's San Francisco in a nutshell, right? It's like the seedy underbelly. While they have this kind of pretense of, well, look at us, aren't we noble, right? And I think that's very Neptunian. Now, it's also a very dramatic city too, with the true node in Leo in the 11th house. So when you look at the development of rock and roll, right, San Francisco is critical. It's key. You have you have Fillmore West, you have Winterland, you had all these venues, the Avalon Ballroom, right? Those are all areas where groups got together and played, and it was very, very artistic and creative. And with the true node in Leo, the arts and creativity has thrived in San Francisco. You had the beat movement in San Francisco. You had the flower power movement in San Francisco. The early stand-up scene in San Francisco was off the charts. You had people like Lenny Bruce and Mort Saul. You had Pat Morita, George Carlin. I mean, all those people were like doing stand-up at the Hungry Eye and all these other places, right? So you had all these movements. Punk rock really planted its roots. I mean, you can say New York, but San Francisco was a serious punk rock town, starting around 1976, 77. So it's got some creative juices, right? It has some creative vibe. And it's really sad now because I think this true node in the 11th house has basically been turned into a voting block. That's really its special interest in a voting block now. And some inordinate interest in the San Francisco Giants and the Golden State Warriors. Pluto down here in Capricorn. So that's interesting. So San Francisco is going to have one kind of final little nudgy nudge with Pluto retrograding back. All right, I am going to make a prediction. I am going to make a prediction, and when I have no idea what just happened. None whatsoever. But we're back and we're about to end the show. So, by the way, it's for True Hemp Science, it's capital JULY. If you want that 20% discount. Okay, there you go. Have yourself a blessed day. Treat each other well. You have everything inside of you to meet every challenge. And even if you don't, dig down, dig deep, ask for guidance and support. You'll get it. Take good care. Bye for now.